Hello everyone, welcome to QuintEdge. This is CA FRM Jan. Over past many years, we have helped thousands of students to clear FRM Part 1 exam in one go. While training these students, we were able to identify certain patterns of preparation that if students follow, they are able to clear exams in one go. There is a very high probability of doing that. I cannot tell you anything with certainty, but probability of you clearing exams in case you follow the preparation strategy that I am going to share that has developed over the years, there will be high probability that you will be able to clear exam in one go. Okay, so let us start. So firstly, as usual, let me give you the structure for this video. So firstly, I'll be telling you about the guidelines that I have for you in case you are preparing by yourself or in case you are preparing using some coaching institute's help. Then we'll be talking about study material that you should be using to develop concepts and to practice questions. Then we'll be talking about the sequence in which you should be studying the chapter. Then I'll have some general tips for you that are very important. Then I'll be summarizing the entire video so that you can take away the important pointers with you. So let us start. Let's talk about the preparation guidelines for candidates who are preparing by themselves. Then I'll talk about the students who are going to coaching institutes. Firstly, let's talk about self-preparators. First of all, you need to understand this. This is not a college level exam. This is specialization into risk management. You need to give it that proper respect. You can't mug up things in last 15-20 days, go and sit an exam and expect that you will clear it. Even if you are some kind of genius who have done academically exceptionally well, then also the purpose of you acquiring this certificate is to get skills, right? And I doubt you that maybe whatever kind of genius you are, in 15 days you cannot absorb the skills that are given in this curriculum, right? So you need at least 6 months to absorb the skills that are meant to be taught to you. Number one. Number two, if you are a working professional, I understand that it's very difficult for you to extract time from your regular job and study. But you have to do that. So I recommend 2 hours daily on weekdays and 4 hours daily on weekends. So 2 hours for 5 days and 4 hours for 2 days. This will be 10 and 8. That is, you have to study 18 hours per week. Okay, every week you have to study 18 hours. In total, there are 4 weeks in a month. You have to study 18 hours, and in total, you have 6 months. So this will be 432 hours of study. This includes everything: developing the concepts, solving questions, everything. Right? 432 hours are required. If you're a student who is preparing by themselves, I really appreciate you. First of all, what you have to do is you have to be very consistent. For working professional, because they've worked over the years, they've learned the importance of discipline. But this is what I see lacking in many students. You have to study daily 2.5 hours without any break for next 6 months. And preferably, if you're a working professional, do it in the first few hours of when you wake up. And if you're a student, preferably study before your college hours. Because I have noticed that by the time you are back from college, all of your energy is drained and there is no new enthusiasm for you to study in late night, right? So I generally recommend to study in morning. In case you are a night person, you can obviously study in night, but this is what I generally recommend, that study in morning because your retention is generally higher. Okay, now if you're a coaching going student, you will be watching classes. It will take around 4 months depending upon which coaching instructor you have taken, how long the lectures are, but generally 4 months are enough for you to cover everything, for you to cover all the lectures of FRM Part 1. Okay, and then 2 months of self preparation. Okay, so total 6 months you also need, even if you are taking help of a coaching instructor. Okay, and you also need to mark that 400 hours. Okay, if you are a working professional and taking coaching classes, so 1.5 hours of classes and half hour of study on weekdays. So 1.5 hour of classes on weekdays and half hour of study on weekdays. That will be 7.5 and 2.5. That again adds up to 10 hours of study on weekdays, and on weekends 3 hours of classes and 1 hour of self-study. This will continue for 4 months, right? And remaining 2 months, 2 hours of study daily and 4 hours of study on weekends, and this will all, or like this will also add up to around 400 hours. So if you are at coach, like if even if you are taking coaching class, you have to study 400 hours including your classes, right? This was all by self, this is including classes, but you have to reach that 400 hours of preparation mark. If you are a student, simply watch 1.5 hour of classes, 1 hour of self study on all the days across 6 months, and you will very comfortably be prepared for exams. Right? Every week you have to study 18 hours. This is just to make a check on yourself. Every week you are clocking that 18 hours or not. Okay. Now let's move ahead and let's talk about the study material that you should be using. So my first recommendation for the students who are preparing by themselves is use the GARP's curriculum. So whatever book GARP have recommended, that is available on their portal to download. Once you register, you will be having access to download it. These books are a bit bulkier in nature, but very descriptive, contain lots of knowledge that is kept in Schwezer books. So Schwezer is the second recommendation, but please make sure whichever book you start, see both of them are good enough to clear exams, no doubt about it. But whichever book you start your preparation with, make sure you do not jump between the books. If you're starting with Garb's book, study all the topics from Garb's book, it's perfectly fine. If you're starting with Kaplan Schwezer book, study all the topics from Kaplan Schwezer books. Don't jump between the books. What I've generally noticed is, especially after the COVID, students start with this book because it's more bulkier in nature. They start with the enthusiasm that we'll study more, we'll get more knowledge. But by the time third or fourth one arrives, they move to Kaplan Schwezer saying that this is very bulky. You knew it from the day one, right? So you have to make a decision. Are you going to study more, devote more time, or are you going to study limited and just clear the exams? Both of the books are good enough to clear exams. My recommendation is Gar's book. But if you start with Schwezer, that's perfectly fine. Don't jump between the books. That's my only request and recommendation. If you're using a coaching class, help of a coaching class to clear exams, first of all, your go-to notes should be the coaching notes. Your instructor is an FRM, right? He have already cleared the exam, already have some year of work experience. He already have some year of teaching experience. So please make sure you follow him instead of following this video first, right? So use your coaching notes. After your coaching notes, in case you don't find some chapters particularly well drafted, or you're not satisfied with the content or the notes provided by your coaching provider, then my recommendation is move to Garb's book, or you can use Schwezer notes also. But the same recommendation over here, do not jump between the books. If you want to study all the topics from Garb's book, do that. If you want to study all the topics from Schwezer book, do that. But please do not study some topics from here, some topics from here. Ultimately, what will happen, just few weeks before exam, you will start panicking. It will be very difficult for you to which book to refer, because there will be certain topics which are not covered by Garb's book, but it is there over here. And you will see some topics over here and you will start noticing that these are not given over here. And then you will start doing the same thing for every chapter that you have not studied from Garb's book. And you start thinking that the Schwezer book have left some topics and these are important. Let me prefer Garb's book over Schwezer books. And then you will start jumping within the books. Please do not do that. Many students, thousands of students over many years have cleared their FRM exams using Schwezer book. It's perfectly fine to use them. It's just that this is more knowledgeable, more bulkier. Therefore, it takes more time, right? My recommendation is this, but Schwezer is perfectly fine. Okay. Now, if you are going to learn the concepts by yourself, by preparation, you need to solve more and more questions, right? So from where you will get questions? You will have to solve all the questions that are given in Garb's curriculum, the core books. After every chapter, there are around 20, 30, 40 questions. Some are true, false, some are MCQ, some are descriptive. These are all the concept builders. Solve all these questions. In fact, in our classes, we solve 1000 plus questions. We cover all the Garb's questions, right? So you have to do that. Then Schwezer question, if you're using Schwezer book, if you have Schwezer book, please solve all the questions given in your Schwezer book. Then mock exams by GARP. So last 5-year mock papers are available on GARP's website. You can go download it and solve these papers. Okay. And if you are preparing with the help of a coaching institute, practice the question given by your coaching instructor. This should be your utmost priority, because there is a very, very high probability these questions are some form of permutation and combination of like available in GARP's book, Schwezer notes, or mock exams by GARP. right? So do this first. If in case you are done with this or there are not enough questions, move to Garb's question, then move to Schwezer, and ultimately practice some questions in the form of mock exams before appearing for exams. In total, you have to solve at least 1500 questions before appearing for exams, right? That 432 hours or 400 hours of mark that we discussed, this includes 1500 question solving, right? So to reach that 400 mark, you will be preparing yourself by yourself, you'll be watching lectures, whatever it is, you'll be solving questions also. So broadly it is like 200 hours of self preparation or 200 hours of lectures and remaining 200 hours of question solving. Okay, now let's move ahead and let's discuss the order of study. Order of study, see, I generally do not recommend, I do not even teach in the sequence it is given in Garb's book. What I'll do is the sequence in which I teach the chapters, I'll attach a PDF for that in description. But this is broadly the modules that we have. So first one is basics of risk. We talk about how risk is a value additive exercise, how it adds risk management, adds value to an organization. Then this is basics of finance. Interest rates and portfolio. This is basically fixed income securities, futures and forwards, options. This is borrowed from book 1, 3 and 4. Then we have quantitative analysis. This is 100% from book 2. And then we have risk and risk management. This is basically our war models. This is from book number 4. And then we learn about historical financial disasters in the end. Okay, so this is the module that I have created. Details of this module, which what chapter of Garb book I am referring, I'll be attaching a PDF in description. You can download it from there. This will help you to prepare by yourself. Okay, now some general tips for you. First of all, this is an analytical exam. Please do not enforce yourself to mug up something. I understand there will be some pointers, some chapters that becomes difficult for you to understand, and at that point in time, just to clear exam, you want to retain some formula at the back of your mind, you want to retain some information at the back of your mind. That's perfectly fine. That's strategy to clear exam. But understand, overall approach should be analytical in nature. You should be questioning every line that is taught by your instructor or that is given in your books. Number one. Number two, please make sure you go through the syllabus once, twice, thrice. That's perfectly fine. But a majority of the time is devoted towards solving questions also. So concepts and question goes hand in hand. What I've noticed over the years is students are very keen to learn the concepts, but they are not very keen to solve questions because it takes lots of mental pain to solve questions. Please invest lots of time in solving questions. That's the only key for you to clear exam in one go. Then you need to complete the syllabus 2 months before exam. In total, you have 6 months. 4 months you have to complete the syllabus. Even if you have to maybe do some extra lifting for completing the syllabus, maybe instead of 18 hours you have to study 20 hours. That's perfectly fine. Just do that and complete your syllabus 2 months before exam. In total you have to do 3 revision. First revision will be 2 months before the exam, then second revision 1 month before exam. Generally it takes for second revision 15 to 20 days to complete, right? So you can plan your second revision around 1 month before the exam. Then the third and the last revision will not take more than 1 week. So third revision 15 days before the exam. And in the last 10-15 days, what you have to do is practice question. Just read the important points that you have marked while going through the syllabus. Make sure you are very comfortable with every term and terminology used in the chapter. You are very comfortable with the formula, their derivation, their logic, and try to solve more and more questions. In case you are solving questions before, you must have marked the questions that were difficult. Try to revisit them, right? And then practice 2 mocks before exam. That is very, very necessary. I don't say practice 5-6 mocks, 2 mocks before exam. First one will be just to evaluate, are you able to sit for 4 hours and appear 100 questions in one go? And second one will help you to improve over the past performance. And if you're going to do the same process for the third time, there's very high probability you will do it more efficiently. You will learn about time management. One more thing that I want to highlight for time management that is not given over here is that, see, you have total 240 minutes to solve 100 questions. That is 2.4 minutes to solve one question. So every 30 minutes you have to solve 12.5 questions. So I prepared a benchmark for myself. In every 30 minutes, I should be done with 14 questions. So what happens is ultimately By the time you reach the last 30 minutes, you should be left with around 6-7 questions, because you're solving one extra question every 30 minutes. So by the time you reach the end of the paper, you'll have 6-7 questions and you will have half an hour left. So you'll be able to solve 6-7 questions in 15-20 minutes, and for 10 minutes you can think and ponder upon the questions that you feel are not correct. Okay, and one more strategy that I applied while giving FRM Part 1 exam is, at the back of my mind, I used to keep a count of which question is from which topic, which book, and have I attempted it correctly? Am I sure about it? So I need to score, like, out of, let's say, quants, there are 20 questions, I need to score 15 questions correctly so that I be in the top quartile, right? So what I did was, at the back of my mind, I kept a check at the back of my mind that I have attempted 15 questions of fonts correctly or not. In case I am around 13 or 14 marks, then I can devote that last 5, 10, 15 minutes that I have extra to maybe solve one or two questions with more efforts and arrive at a better answer or correct answer that I was not able to arrive earlier. Okay, the last suggestion that I have for you is what to do one day before exam. See, whatever preparation was required to be done, you have done it. You have clocked in 400 plus hours, you have practiced couple of mocks, you have done couple of revisions, you know every formula, every concept by heart. Whatever best you could have done, you have already done. On the last day of exam, all you need to do is study as much as you can, revise as much as you can, make sure you sleep 7-8 hours before exam, go fresh in the exam. Please make sure you are not feeling lethargic while giving exam. Make sure you have a proper sleep before exam and go and give your best in exam, right? With that being said, thank you for watching this video. I hope this video helped you. Bye bye.